Good day, all inderesTV viewers and listeners. Sampo published its third quarter results today, and I'm interviewing Sampo CFO Knut Arne Alsaker here at Sampo HQ. Knut, congratulations for another great results. How would you sum up the third quarter development in Sampo?
Well, thank you. I think it was a great result. Third quarter was driven by a few different things. Obviously, a strong top line, strong growth in our premiums, not least driven by our Nordic private business as well as our UK segment. Then, despite the fact that we had some, headwinds from weather, we saw a good improvement in the underlying risk ratio, as well as always in the cost ratio development. As a third element, I could point to our investment return, which is benefited by the higher rates and the higher running yield we have in our fixed income portfolio.
What explains its growth in the third quarter? I think it was 10% if we adjust for foreign exchange. And if we think about Nordic economies, they are slowing down, or some even talk about recession, inflation is coming down. So still you see so high growth. Why?
It's true that in some lines of business like motor, we've had subdued growth because new car sales have been low. However, we've been able to grow in other products, which we very much like. And this year and this quarter, personal insurance has seen very good growth, as well as our home product in the private segment. Then we have high retention, which means that customer stays with us. And then we have strong digital capabilities, meaning that it's easy for our customers to buy products from us. And fourthly, of course, we still have a hard market in the industrial segment, which continues to have very high growth also in the third quarter.
So competition don't bother you too much with that high retention rate?
Competition is, as always, there in all our markets. But high retention also comes from the fact that we service our customers very well. A third quarter with a lot of weather claims is an example of that, where we have a possibility to really show our customers the quality of the product and the service they get from us.
Exactly. Then you were quite upbeat about Hastings, especially going into next year in the CEO review. So the market in the UK has been challenged in any case. So why are you so optimistic about Hastings?
The UK market has been challenging, you can say, not least because claims inflation have been high and still remains at elevated levels, although it's been stable now for some quarters. What we have done is to increase prices to clearly cover the claims inflation, and we've done that throughout the year. And now, lately, the last couple of quarters, the rest of the market has followed, so pricing trends have improved overall. And just technically, it takes some time for these price increases to be earned through the P&L. It takes a year, which means that next year is a year where we will see the result of the actions we've taken throughout 2023.
So you should see improving profitability next year.
Improving margins, exactly, from these pricing actions that we have taken. Then also in Hastings, which is visible in our third quarter result, we have a higher running yield from also higher rates, sterling rates, which we invest in that particular segment.
Is it maybe not easy, might not be the best word, but is it easy to hike prices in the UK where there's a lot more competition and the market? Is there a lot more competitors there?
I don't think there's a difference in any market really in terms of what you need to do when you have changes in the risk factors that is so important for securing profitability, and inflation is certainly one of the most important factors to cover in your pricing. And that's what we're doing in the Nordics, and that's what we are doing in the UK.
Okay. Then you're both Topdanmark shares. I think this Topdanmark topic is a hot potato in investors' mouth. So what was the rationale in this buying?
It's really nothing new in terms of what we have done and talked about for many years. When there has been, and also in the third quarter, when there was some smaller blocks of shares that was offered to us, we had an interest to buy them at market prices. We've done that before, and we got an opportunity to do that again, all those small blocks in the third quarter. So nothing new really.
So this is the level where you have appetite for Topdanmark shares.
It's small blocks, but obviously we think that it made sense to buy these shares at the market prices we had in the third quarter. Absolutely.
After Mandatum divestment, your balance sheet is still very well capitalized, and if the Swedish Financial Authority approves your application for new solvency model, you will have even more excess capital available. So what kind of capital allocation policy investors should be expecting going forward?
Well, we'll come back to the revised capital management framework at a little later stage, as we've said. But in terms of the overall capital allocation principles, I don't think there's a lot new to say. We will continue to have a regular dividend, which will be stable and grow in line with our underwriting profitability. Then excess capital can be returned either through buybacks or special dividend, which we also have done before, or used for bolt-on acquisitions, which is a part of our current capital management framework. It's important on the latter point to remember that some of the excess capital, you could say, is still related to the two financial investments we have left in Sampo PLC after the demerger, where some of them went to Mandatum and a couple were left with Sampo PLC. And also, it's pending the approval of the internal model application we have filed with the Swedish Financial Supervisory. And we expect that to be resolved during next year.
Looking forward to that. Then, lastly, after Mandatum divestments, we could say that the Sampo has gone through the strategy period. You have achieved those targets you set a few years ago. So how would you reflect these last few years when now you are a pure property and casualty insurer?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. We have a very solid delivery against our financial targets. That's obviously important. We have simplified the group structure, and we're now a pure play P&C company, which is almost an over delivery, at least to what we talked about in the CMD in February of 21. Then we have returned more than 4 billion euros in excess capital and paid out shy of 2 billion euros in regular dividend, not counting a dividend for this year. And despite that, we have a stronger balance sheet than what we had at the end of 20. All of that together, I would say that I'm very satisfied with what we have done against what we presented in February 21.
And I think we shall hear more about the new strategy in your upcoming Capital Markets Day. Was it in December?
When we have the CMD, we obviously will talk about the strategy and capital management for the coming period.
thanks, Knut, for the interview. I'm looking forward to the CMD and our next meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.